Well, I want to say that I'm distinctly honored to be included in this award ceremony with my great friends and well-loved colleagues of those years. The first faculty member I saw when I came for an interview from St. Louis, where I was at Washington University at the time, was Otto Carillonneur, down there on the corner of Pulteney Street. And with Otto and his wife Mary, we had lunch. And thereafter, I was so often associated with Otto, but more so with Ben and with John Leidenberg. And when you were talking about John and his sense of independence, it reminded me of one summer when we had summer school, and it was pretty hot. And in those days, they hadn't invented air conditioning, or at least we didn't have it. And John, to be comfortable and efficient, would come to class in a t-shirt. And the provost of that era, however, took a rather dim view of this, and there was a little circular sent to the summer faculty stating that t-shirts were not considered suitable academic dress for giving lectures. I don't know whether John did anything about it, to tell you the truth. And Ben Atkinson I knew very well and loved very much and miss a great deal. He, interestingly enough, was the first to acquaint me with a new invention called the 33 1/3 playing record, the long playing record, which he had read about in some periodical that I hadn't yet seen. And I've never forgotten this because, of course, that was a great step forward in recording. And I remember his stopping me on the street and describing this to me in great detail and how excited I was. And of course that too has passed into history and been supplanted by all kinds of other superior things. I have to keep an eye on the time, and I told John Norvell that he perhaps ought to adopt this system they have in Congress of saying after a while, the honorable member's time has expired. The fact that I have to be up and playing the organ before long means that I should cut this somewhat short. I had another interesting experience in hearing about some of the people tonight. I drove from Phoenix to Philadelphia to pick up my daughter and come here, and on the way I was watching TV in a desultory fashion in various motels, and in one there was a long interview with an expert on automobiles who was talking about the recent problem with the Firestone and Ford tires as an expert, and that was Brock Yates, a Hobart graduate who is of course very much associated with that great work of art called Car and Driver, which is an authority on many things. And he gave this long interview, and I thought, well, that's nice, I remember him. And then the next night I was chasing the dial, and I came on the credits at the end of what must have been a great program, which however I didn't see, except that looming large as the credits scrolled up the screen was the name Ben Wattenberg. And I said, I know him, I may see him. I have thanks to give to all of those who have made this possible. And first, I would like to select Dyson Gay, but also couple with his name, Karl-Hein Knudsen. These were the mad mummers of Medbury in my day, and they have clung together ever since, cooking up all kinds of things, including this affair, and of course Dick Rogers and John Norvell, who has put together this whole enterprise with such skill, but with such military precision that if I don't shut up soon, we're going to be way behind. However, I do get a chance to talk some more at the concert. And that actually is more of my field, so I should feel on happier ground there. But I would like also to thank Les Stark, of course, and Sharon Akul, who have been responsible for bringing this to fruition and whose aid in that I appreciate very much. And then, of course, my family, without whom I would have been lost many years ago. I said at one point when my wife died rather suddenly of cancer, that I would have starved to death if it hadn't been for the microwave oven and Mr. What was his name who made the frozen dinners? Yeah, whoever he was. Because with the aid of that, I was able to keep alive. But without the love and support of my absolutely superb family, I would have been considerably lost. And my daughter, who has played also a leading part in this enterprise, and who will play leading part in the music tonight because of parts I've written for her in the music. And my two sons, both of whom were born in the Geneva General Hospital and grew up on the campus demanding toll of wanderers along the William Smith path and generally making themselves useful. On the radio at one time, when Lou was supposed to be reading the news and the weather report was missing, he made it up. And it probably was as accurate as the one. But all of these people have loomed so large in my life and my musical life, but my personal life, that I owe them a debt that I can't repay. And they, I'm so happy to say, and their families are here today and are all going to take part in the concert. And I would urge you not to skip the concert, otherwise there may be retribution in the shape of no dessert. But I thank you all from the bottom of my heart, and I was recalling one of these old romantic stories of history when they said, and he died, he lived as a patriarch, and as his declining years showered with honors, and that's the way I feel. Now, of course, I'm reminded of J.S. Bach, the greatest composer the world has ever known, who was showered with honors only 100 years after they discovered that was how good a composer he was. So I feel much happier that I've been able to enjoy these honors while I'm still able to enjoy them. And thank you all very much, and thank you, Mr. President, for all your support in this matter.
Thank you, Professor Lafford, for that wonderful and inspiring speech. I would like to confirm that Erin and I are delighted that you're joining us for dessert at our home, and to confirm the check-in procedure we have to ensure attendance at the concert. Let me just say a few things. We have 2 young children, 8 and 2. Let's keep the tolls right here. Thank you for coming. We can turn it to Sharon.
Congratulations to all of our DFA honorees for this year. And now it is time to strap on our Nikes and traverse across the campus to St. John's Chapel for the concert featuring Professor Lafford, Schola Alumni and Alumnae, and the college's chorale directed by Professor of Music Bob Coles. And dessert will really be at the President's house after. Once again, thank you all for joining us. Please feel free to pick up the biographies of our honorees on your way out the door. We'll see you at the chapel.